Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. This is the Friday night GLP-1 panel, Weighing What Matters. My name is Sabrina, and you could find me on most platforms as Brina_727. I'd like to give Dave a very quick thank you for inviting us over to his platform. It's just such an honor. It's always a great time to be able to chat with the community. The Friday night panel began on TikTok around February of 2024, and we've had amazing conversations, and I'm so excited to bring that over to this platform. I'd like to thank everyone who has shared their voices and everyone who's up here on the panel tonight. So tonight we're just going to chat with some of our community members about wins, challenges, and weighing what matters. Thank you guys so much. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Right.
Excited to be here.
It's I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you sharing your voice and coming up and sharing your stories. You never know who is going to hear your story, and it's going to help. So your time and your voice is always appreciated. How's everyone doing tonight?
Great.
Doing well. Glad it's Friday.
Yes. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you are watching this live, drop in the chat where you're watching this. Are you on YouTube? What platform are you watching us on? And then, does anyone have anything before we do the church announcements?
I don't think so. I think we're all just really excited to be here for sure.
Yes. So, okay, church announcements are just let's be respectful of each other and allow each other to finish your thoughts before jumping in. I feel very strongly about this being a safe space for the entire community. If you are interested in being a guest on the panel, there is an interest form at onthepen.com/Sabrina. If you'd like to catch any of the previous panels that we've done, you can do so at glp1panel.com. We are now doing these panels once a month on the pen. The other week, we will be doing those on TikTok. So I just wanted to take a quick moment to chat about Dave's book, Decoding GLP-1. This book, if you have not already gotten a copy or checked it out, you're doing yourself a disservice. This book is an amazing guide for people who want to introduce the conversation of GLP-1 usage to their friends and family. It's just it's empathetic, and it's got community stories in it. You can get a copy of it at glpbook.com. I love it, and I think that a lot of people in our community would also love it. Okay, I think let's do the introductions. Jay, please start the introductions with where people can find you, a brief overview of your journey, and a non-scale victory.
Hi, I'm Jay, and I'm Virgo JV here on YouTube and on TikTok. I'm mostly on TikTok though. That's where you can find the most up-to-date content. And I have been on my journey with Manjaro since May of 2023, and I am down 32% of my body weight on this particular journey. And so far, this week, I've had an NSV of feeling more comfortable in my body. So basically, um, I was digging through my closet and I found some unusual clothing items, things that I didn't remember purchasing at some point. Um, so, like, purchased apparently a cut off t shirt that was just very sides out and everything. And I just threw it on and I was comfortable in it. And I was like, okay, we're just going to have body yaddy out, I guess. And then also buried in the closet was apparently I bought a crop top at some point, and I was like, okay, we own a crop top. I threw that on as well. I was like, okay, I don't hate it. So here we are, owning a crop top and a cutoff. Here it's a brave new world out here. So that's my NSV.
Have you tried them on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you? I need video. I need a FaceTime.
Rocking the crop top.
I want evidence. I love that. Congratulations. That's huge.
Being comfortable in your body when you've been in a larger body is not an easy feat.
That's a big deal.
It's a challenge, especially when I'm not quite at gold yet. So there are going to still be days, I'm sure, where I won't be as comfortable in my body. But this week it's been a good week, a very good week.
I love that. That's a big deal. That's a very, very big deal. Heather.
Hi everyone, my name's Heather. You can find me mostly just on TikTok. It's my favorite place to be, Heather+3. I have been on this journey since October of 2022. I started at over BMI of over 37, and I have taken it down to 25, which is something that I just never thought would be possible with struggling my whole life, truly like my whole life with this. I am really excited. My non-scale victory. I thought really long and hard about this one because being in maintenance, I struggle to find victories at this point. Like that's something I've been struggling with. But my biggest one, I think, is that I had the courage to go to Atlanta by myself and travel for the very first time on my own as a grown-up. To meet the most amazing community. I would have never done that in a bigger body. I would have never done that without the confidence that I've gained now. And so it absolutely opened my world up to people that have truly like inspired me all over again. So that's my non-scale victory. Also a bonus, I ordered my first bikini yesterday on TikTok. We'll see how that goes.
I love that. And congratulations on the finding the courage and finding that inside you to go travel by yourself to a city that, I mean, did you know more than a handful of people that were going to be there?
I mean, I knew probably 3 or 4 that I've been on this journey with for quite a while, but again, it's always been virtual. I've never actually met anyone in person.
So this was the first time to meet anyone in person.
Yeah, I have met Jay. Jay and I are a little bit closer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the rest of the community, it was brand new. So yeah, it was a whirlwind. It was a huge, huge thing for me for sure.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing. That is a wonderful, wonderful win.
Only my second time of being on an airplane.
Ever? That's awesome.
So that should tell y'all how much it took for me to take that leap.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Let's go with Kimberly.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm Kimberly. I'm from South Carolina, so I might slip in a few y'alls in our conversation tonight. So sorry about that.
I do it too, and I'm from Chicago.
I'm a school principal, and as a side hustle, I'm the artistic director of a women's a cappella show chorus. So a lot of fun. Been married for 33 years, have 5 kids. My journey, I was really active as when I was younger, played a lot of varsity sports, but I just never had a healthy relationship with food. It seems like I was always dieting, and even though I probably didn't even need to be, I tried so many crazy, unhealthy ways. to lose weight and just gain it all back over and over again. And then about 12 years ago, I just had this perfect storm in my life, which I'd be glad to go into later tonight. But I developed type 2 diabetes. I really was struggling with obesity. I developed migraines. My blood pressure was sky high. A1C kept getting higher. Cholesterol was all the things, having heart issues, lots of stuff. So my doctor and I decided to start me on Mounjaro this past November. So I'm still fairly new to all of this, but I'm happy, really thrilled to say I've been a super responder. Most importantly, the things on the inside that you can't see have improved. My A1C is getting better. My blood pressure is fantastic. My BMI is dropping, all those things. And then on the outside, the things that you can see, as of this week, I've lost 25% of my body weight. Yeah. I work out a lot in the gym. And I have a much healthier relationship with food thanks to the GLP-1. I'm on TikTok as Dr. KSG67, and I'm on Instagram and YouTube for Dr. Kimberly Graham. But you are not going to see me posting much of anything GLP-1 related because this is a really tricky thing. But one of my daughters continues to struggle with an eating disorder. And I don't know if any of you have had friends or family who've had bulimia or anorexia, but that eating disorder tries to outdo me. So if I cut calories, the eating disorder cuts calories. If I exercise, she tries to exercise more. So my GLP-1 journey has been very private, and I've only told about 5 people in my life, and they know to be quiet because I don't want my daughter to know because I think her eating disorder will just go ballistic. But I learned just about everything about GLP-1s from this community, and I'm just not out there creating content because I don't want my daughter to find it. So it's been a really lonely journey for me. I don't feel like I have the ability to share much, but good thing. I've had lots of NSVs lately. I've done a lot of traveling this year, and the whole airplane seatbelt thing was fantastic. And I know I've heard on this panel several people taking pictures of their seatbelt fitting around them, and that was, I mean, I used to have to hide it. I would pretend that it was buckled, and I would hide it off to the side, and it wasn't really buckled. I was too embarrassed to buy or ask for an extender, maybe in some denial too. But the coolest NSV was this week. So I'm a musician, and I've got this really cool ring. It's a music staff with the notes to Amazing Grace on it. And years ago, I had to put the ring away because it wouldn't fit on any of my fingers. And so since November, I've been taking this ring out and trying to fit it on a finger. So I'm happy to say on 2 days ago, I put it on, and I am just thrilled to have it on my hand. So I'm wearing it proudly. No one other than my husband knows about that and the struggle to get it on and not be able to get it on, but it's huge for me. So
I'm so happy for you. It's such a big deal. Like, what a feeling.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That would be so meaningful.
Yeah.
And I have rings on all 10 fingers. And so this one has been missing, and I just I can't wait to get this on my finger. And so just, lots of great things this week.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Corey?
I'm Corey, and I'm 50, and I've been married 28 years, 2 adult married children. I just became a grandmother this year. And so it's been a wonderful, wonderful year. And being at the place where I'm at health wise has been just made it that much sweeter. And I had a hysterectomy last year as well. So I was doing that alongside the community. And it's just been very mind opening for me to be able to see how everyone says it's not your fault. Well, I really understand that more fully now. So much of it came from problems with just women's issues and then my weight and everything. So, I mean, it's just been really incredible to see all of that turn around. But I started having problems with weight, I would say, in college after I was in a cheerleading accident. And they dropped me and they didn't catch me.
Oh my God.
So I had like 2.5 years of physical therapy and all stuff and decades long of pain. And I've been to over 36 doctors and all sorts of things. And so the weight it was always a battle after that. And so I found out about tirzepatide back in August of 2023. So, and this is before Brand came out in December of 2023. And I found my local IV therapy place that I've been going to and asked them, and they were like, you can get it from us. And I was their first patient. And so I did it with them for 3 months. But it was compounded with BPC 157, which was on the blacklist or what, it got banned or something during the time I was taking it. And so I didn't do well with that combination. So I'm always hesitant when people talk about combining all of these things together. I'm like, you don't know really how you're going to react, because I felt like I was going to pass out constantly. As soon as I got on Brand, it went away. And it's just been smooth sailing ever since. I'm down 40% of my body weight. And I hit maintenance. I had to go and look back because I was like, I didn't really ever, like, I thought maintenance started when I hit my goal in my head, that I'd always looked at that number, the number that I could never get below, even with working out days a week, even with taking Vyvanse or phentermine or whatnot. And so when I losing weight officially, I've been the same weight since January of 2025. And it's just been very easy for me. My journey has been very easy. That's what I love about knowing that all these other medications are coming out, because for people where it hasn't been as easy, I'm like, but it's not your fault and it's not my credit. It has nothing to do with me. I have not worked hard, me personally. And so many have worked really hard alongside this. And I'm like, don't give me credit for this. This just made my body work as it should, like that, like within hours. So that's where I'm always trying to encourage people. Like, it's just because we were ill, and so someone else's illness may be greater than mine is in my body. And so other than that, let's see, my non-scale victory, because you're going to Atlanta, or I was going to Atlanta, and I had put off going shopping in person this entire time. I've purchased from TikTok Shop and Amazon, and things just don't really fit that well. It's not quite perfect. And I'd always wanted to go back to this one shop in town. Very nice. And I got jeans from like 7 years ago when I was like at my lowest, starving myself basically on Vyvanse and working out all the time. And I'm way lower than back then. And I was like, I just want to get back to that store, but just going in person felt like such a barrier. I don't know why. And I just couldn't do it. And I was like, I'm going to Atlanta. I got nothing to wear, so I'm going to go. So I made a video about it and everything on TikTok, Corey.take2. And it was great. They were so helpful. Everything fit me. I mean, it was like nothing. It was a lot of fun. I had all kinds of clothes to wear this weekend, but it was really great to go in person and see what my body, variety of that are not trying to bring something in if I need to ship it back the next day, and so that was really nice, just to kind of experience that and take that fear away from me, and just kind of do it in person. So I can't give that enough. I would encourage everyone to do that as they can, because it was really It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of, and now I have some nice, good clothes.
Good clothes. I mean, baby, when I saw your outfit of the day or your like shopping haul video, I was like, love, 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 love. Every single outfit you bought, I was like,
Well,
okay.
so funny, but and the jeans I put on that I bought, I looked in the mirror there, and the girl was helping me, and I was like, I look identical to my sister. Like I didn't know that we had looked the same in clothes, but we look identical. And she's on Zepbound as well. And I was like, we look like twins. I was like, we really do look like twins. And I said it so many times. And then I saw her the other day. She was like, where'd you get those jeans? So she looked it up immediately. So I think going to be like twins walking around. It's so wild.
I love that. Congratulations. That's just, it's a huge one. A huge one. Day?
I got diagnosed with the type 2 diabetes in March last year. It made sense at the time because I was unhealthy for a while. I just didn't understand why. And I was gaining so fast. Like I couldn't, I was struggling with food noise and food cravings a lot. And it was also on top of that, like my only comfort at the time. And then I was always wondering, like, why do I never have any energy? Why do I need a nap every time I eat something? And then I went to the doctor and they diagnosed me, and it felt like I had failed myself for some reason. But it ran in my family, but I never really thought too deeply into it, I guess. I never thought it would affect me. Silly. But I wanted to start the GLP-1 right away, but my doctor was like, oh, you're too young to be this unhealthy. You need to just kind of stop eating and just start working out. And that was my first time going to a doctor in like 5 years. Cause I've always been super like scared of doctors since I was little. Cause I've always had an issue with like obesity at a young age. So hearing what they would say, I just didn't want to deal with that as I got older. So I tried doing that, didn't work. And then my blood sugar levels were just tanking. So it felt awful. And then my mom, she actually started her journey a little around that same time I was like looking into it. And she was like, I'll be here when you're ready. Just let me know. Cause she didn't want to push me because she knew I wasn't ready yet, I think. But eventually, after like 6 months after March, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready because I don't want to feel unhealthy anymore. I'm more scared of how bad that diabetes is getting, because I also got diagnosed with a PCOS at the time. So like all those things were kind of making sense to why I wasn't feeling great. And I figured that maybe there was something wrong with my body. It wasn't that I was not doing the right things. It was just that my body couldn't do what a normal person can, I guess, to lose. So I brought it up to my mom, and she actually like bought my first like 2 months of like tirzepatide. And that's where I started that journey. And I lost with it, like I felt the effects very fast, very fast. It was weird because for the first time in like, I feel like 20 plus years, I didn't have the food cravings. Like that immediately went away. And I thought I was crazy for the longest time because I was like, do other people deal with this? I always thought there was something wrong with me. People just ignore it. And then I've had very fast results within the first 6 months. I'm very close to goal, but those last few are like very, very slow. But the biggest one I think is definitely my A1C going below 5.5. It was at an 8 when I first started. So, and I feel the healthiest I've felt. And that's the biggest win, the health, not the loss, but it's a nice plus, but the healthiest I feel. And I'll stay on this for life if it just keeps me feeling healthy, even if I don't lose anything else. So.
Oh, I love that. So your NSV is feeling healthier.
Yes.
Good. Where can people find you, honey?
You can find me at allthings.day at TikTok and IG.
Jackson.
Hi. Sorry, it's like thunder and lightning, so I wanted to stay on mute. Hi everyone. How's it going? So talk like my backstory, why I started on medication. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, so
Sorry.
just
Okay.
nope, all good. So you're just gonna kind of introduce yourself, where people
Cool.
can find you, a brief overview of your journey, and then a non-scale victory.
Cool. Backstory. I was really struggling with my weight. I had previously lost over 100 pounds on my previous weight loss journey, and it was not the healthiest means. And I had some weight gain back. And then when I started gaining weight back, I was really at a low point in my life. I went to my provider and they gave me Contrave, and Contrave made me super sick. So after, feeling like crap for 3 weeks and literally having tremors, I was like, something's got to give. That day, I was scrolling on TikTok. I saw JT, the flight attendant, and I fell into her live, and Jay was modding, and I was just chilling in the chat, and I literally was in there for like 3 hours, and I just was like, I have to find more information. So I went to the search bar, and I tell people this because I literally remember it vividly. I typed in Monjiro. I couldn't even spell Manjaro. I didn't know how it was spelled. So I typed it in wrong, but luckily other people had also misspelled like me. It was before ChatGPT was big. Okay, don't blame me. Um, yeah, so I found more information, and then that day I messaged my provider on the portal, and I was like, "Hey, I know there's a long shot, but because I wasn't type 2 diabetic, I had high cholesterol, I did have high blood pressure, and I was pre-diabetic. So I was like, let's give it a go and see, and if not, then I can try it for Wegovy, see if that will get covered." Luckily, I did get a prior authorization for Manjaro. I had 3 years of coverage, but insurance. So that was stripped away. Um, yeah, and then so now I'm on compound, but I definitely was able to stockpile a lot of meds while I had that coverage. So yeah, you can find me on TikTok, JackLeMay03. I try to be funny. I try to post funny content. That's my niche. It's even a smaller niche than GLP. It's like GLP and then it's GLP humor. It's like a tiny itty bitty bit. So that's me. Non-scale victory. I don't know. mm, I don't know. I'm here. I'm here. I was able to get some time off and be here tonight. So that is my non-scale victory. I get to spend my Friday night with my friends.
Thank you for that. Jackson's probably one of the busiest people I have ever met in my life. So we are grateful that you were able to get away for a couple of hours. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so hi guys, I'm Sabrina, and I have been on a GLP-1 for 2 years now, Manjaro. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in April of 2023. Day, everything you were saying, you were singing my song. I wouldn't go to the doctor because I didn't want to listen to them berate me about my weight when I was doing it myself. I did not need to hear it from them as well. So with my hesitant, like without, because I didn't want to go, that ended up pushing me over the threshold of becoming a type 2 diabetic. I also turned and I was like, well, look at what you've done to yourself. So for a long time, I struggled with it for a very, very long time. And this community really did help heal parts of that. So thank you to this community. I absolutely love the GLP-1 community with my whole heart. If that's not apparent, stick around. You'll see it very, very quickly. I had the opportunity to go to Atlanta. We had a meetup, and I got to wrap my arms around so many people in this community who have made such a tremendous impact on my life. So I'm very grateful for that. My non-victory is I lost. Okay, let me go back. I have 2 insurance policies. I have 2 health insurance policies, one for myself and one through my husband's employer. We pay an exorbitant amount of money in premium for insurance coverage. And Manjaro is on the formulary for both policies. And when we went to go redo my prior authorization, they denied coverage. They said that I believe the PBM said that I wasn't diabetic enough, I believe. It was something to that effect because um, my A1C was now controlled because of the Manjaro. So make it make sense, guys. Make it make sense. But and you guys know how much I just love the PBMs, right? I mean, it was rage. I was so angry and just very, very. I okay. I'm just going to move on from that because then I'm going to start ranting about it. But needless to say, my non-scale victory is I ended up turning the entire situation over to Fridays because they have an incredible prior authorization team who specifically does this prior authorizations and appeals. And this past week, I received notice that they were able to get my prior authorization approved. So I was, I just started sobbing. I just started sobbing because the frustration of it. It's just, I'm not going to go down that road. I'm very happy and excited, and I could not wait to share that with everyone. So
I think you are not the only one that cried about that when we all heard. I think a handful of us on our Discord all teared up at that one. Literally, it was like Christmas for everybody hearing how hard you fought, especially because you have, it's not just like somebody that sees this on TikTok and wants to get on this. You have visible proof that you're healing your body and you're a better, healthy person for you and your family for it. So it's heartbreaking to hear that you have to fight so hard. I think we're all happy to have heard that news for sure.
Thank you so much. That means I immediately, so like it was not even like 1 minute past and I screenshot it and I just sent it out. I texted it to like 25 people. I was like, and I was just bawling my eyes out because I was so stressed out. I'm like, I pay more in like premium than I would if I had to pay like direct, right? Like I pay so much and it's on both formularies.
Mhm.
And I have the diagnosis that the FDA has, like what its indication is. I'm like, what do you mean? So,
which is beautiful and devastating that there are people out there in the world that have to prove themselves so hard to get something that saves their lives.
yeah, I mean, it's
heartbreaking.
It doesn't
yeah.
make sense because you have to fight for it if you have a diabetes diagnosis. You have to fight for it if you have an obesity diagnosis. You have to fight for it if you have a sleep apnea diagnosis. You have to fight for it if you have a heart condition. Like, do they want people to have medication or not?
How many people are out there that are denied coverage and just have to be stuck on metformin? Like, that really sucks. They don't know about the community. They don't know like to continue to fight. Like their providers aren't willing to fight. They have no idea.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
That's what we're here for though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's heartbreaking because I cannot tell you how many times we're on a TikTok live that someone comes in, they're like, I got a denial. I'm like, how many times have you appealed? And they were like, what? I'm like, baby, let's talk. Like, what do you mean? You know, they said no. I'm like, and how many times they say no? You know? So it's that we just got to keep fighting the good fight. Or at least spreading information to let them know that one singular denial means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Or it means everything.
I just think that people should continue to, I mean, if there's no coverage for it, there is no coverage. But like sometimes there is coverage, Jay, right? Sometimes there is coverage.
I think
Yeah,
the
but
weird thing about insurance and that though is that it's ever changing. That's the hardest part because I mean, on both sides, you can have a moment where you're approved and everything's great and you get this good news. And then all of a sudden, no warning, that's done. It's over. You're out of luck. Or you've been told for months, a year that you don't have anything. And then you happen to come across it on your health insurance app that they've had it on the formulary for 3 months. And of course, no one told you, even though you've been fighting. So it's like a war zone just in general. And like advocating for yourself has been something that I have become so passionate about because even just like Dave was saying, going to the doctor, I didn't know until this that advocating was something that we should be doing. Like as a grown up, no one told me through all the way through adulthood that my doctor's answers didn't have to be what I was happy with, right? Like if they told me something I didn't agree with, I could say, no, I don't think that's right and find someone else to help me. And so it's definitely I think it's just a huge picture in general of figuring it all out. But they definitely don't want you to understand it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. They've made it very difficult.
Yeah.
Jay, what were you going to say?
no, I was just going to say that it's just really tough to think about all the people that don't have the space for the fight.
Yeah.
Because it takes mental space for it, and it takes energy for it. I mean, people are trying to put food on the table, trying to take care of their families. I mean, and just think about all the mental space we had taken up before we started the medication of just a food noise. Think about that. I mean, like, I don't know. It's just hard to think about so many people who want to fight but just don't have the energy for whatever reason, and I just feel bad for them.
I do too. Yeah. I mean, because yeah, you're right. Not everyone has that fight in them. I mean, I'm tired. People are tired. We shouldn't. I guess the story, the point is, we shouldn't have to fight this hard.
Yeah. 100%.
We should not have to fight this hard. Dave put up a video recently about like being out like in like a body of water, right? And you've got 100-pound weight just dragging you down, and you are fighting for your life. And then someone throws you like a life, right? And then it gets ripped away. I mean, it's not right.
And people are working lots of hours for a job so they can have insurance coverage and paying high premiums and then getting denied.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's important that it's not just obesity medicine. This is like massive. PBM reform goes across a lot of things. So it doesn't just affect us. Obviously, we're in this space, so we see it. But like Dylan has a medication that they tried to charge him $1,600 a month for. Like, so it's happening other places. Like if literally like 80% of America can't afford extra $1,000 bill, like who can afford these medications? It's very expensive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. I mean, I thought I was prepared for PBM fights because I've been in this space for 2 years, and my ADHD meds aren't properly covered. Like there was an entire fight over that. They like did this weird tricky thing where they were like, oh, you need a prior authorization, but you don't need a prior authorization, but you do.
Mm-hmm.
It was very strange. And so, like, I'm paying out of pocket for medication, even though I really shouldn't have to.
Do you think the insurance companies
it's not limited to this.
Do you think the insurance companies are just waiting for us to give up?
100%.
Oh, for sure. That
100%.
just happened to me this past month, Jay, because I stopped. So this entire time, the last 2 years that I've been on this medication, I have been exhausted and very disorganized. I'm like a super hyper organized person always. Like I used to do organizing things for people a long time ago. And I've been so disorganized. My house is a wreck. Like I told Sabrina, I think I got pulled over because my license plate was expired. And then I found out that after that, I was like, what else is expired? My umbrella insurance was expired for our house. My passport was expired and we were leaving in 6 weeks to go overseas. My driver's, I mean, so much was just, and I was like, what just happened to my life? Oh my gosh, I got to do something. I got to get back on these meds. So I stopped the medication. I stopped Vyvanse a month before I started this medication. And I just put 2 and 2 together that maybe it's not the medication, this medication that's making me disorganized and tired all the time, or just whatever. Maybe I actually really do have ADHD. And I was taking Vyvanse before for really just weight loss. But this has helped me to understand, oh, maybe I really do need some extra help. So I went through insurance. I went to, or my doctor prescribed it to me again. Went to go get it, tried all the stuff, and it was going to be like $500 or $600 out of pocket, and they weren't covering it. And I said, "What are you talking about? I have like the best insurance. I really have everything. This needs to be covered now." I was livid, and they're like, "No, it's been 2 years since you've had it. You need to do step therapy now." And I couldn't even believe it. I was stunned. So now I have to try. Now I'm going to do Adderall, which actually it's ending up being a better fit for me because I had insomnia for 7 years on Vyvanse. So anyway, it's just so strange how these it goes everywhere. Like all the medications, except for like a statin, like rosuvastatin, because now I'm on cholesterol medication for the last year because even losing 40%, I still had high cholesterol because it's genetic for me. But it costs me $0 when I pick up my statin every 3 months. 3 months worth, 0. It's why
frustration. Like frustration. It just why are we fighting to get
it's all about the money. So
yeah. It's just
that's it.
It's
Insurance
incredible.
companies have never met a flaming hoop they wouldn't want you to see you jump through.
Yeah. But we just got to keep doing what we're doing, right? We just got to keep showing up and spreading the good word. Okay. Do you guys want to get started on the questions?
All right. Question.
Okay. We are going to start with we're going to start with Day. This is one of Day's questions. And I just kind of paraphrased it. So how did your relationship with food or with your body change once you started recognizing hunger and fullness cues again?
It was weird, because I've never felt full ever. Even as like when I was little, my mom would make these big pan of brownies and I would eat the entire thing at a young age, and I still felt shame. I didn't understand why yet, but I never felt full, and that's kind of a pattern for years. And then I think on my 3rd week on the medication, I took like 2 bites of my like breakfast. Usually on breakfast, I'm like always the hungriest. And I was like, I'm full. I started crying. I started crying because I was like, this is weird. I've never felt this in my life. And then from then on, it just, everything I ate was more meaningful because I actually knew my limits now. I knew what was good for me, and I wanted the things that were better for me now. Like I didn't have the cravings. I could just eat and stop myself, and I didn't have to feel shame after eating anymore. So I think that's the biggest win. And I don't feel guilty for nourishing my body anymore.
I love that. Yeah. So my friend Jay has, in the beginning of this journey, I was chasing suppression. That's what I thought the answer was. I always thought the answer was suppression. And then that's what I knew, because that I had very much had the diet culture. I was still wrapped up in it. And then Jay, with all his wisdom, was like, suppression's like, that ain't it, right? Like, we're seeking satiety, not suppression, because, and then like a light bulb went off in my head because I realized I never had proper satiety prior to this health journey. I was very much same thing. There's no reason to eat an entire cheese pizza. I mean, physically, there's no reason for that. I mean, physically, you don't need to eat a whole entire pizza, you know? And now when I want pizza, I have a slice or two. And I've learned proper satiety on this health journey, and moderation, not deprivation. That's another gem from Jay that helped me on my journey. So I completely get that. I completely get that. And in regards to the hunger, like I pay very close attention to, because there are times, I mean, I've been on 15 milligrams for what, like over like a year and a half? No, like about however long. So I think it's important to pay attention to your cues, right? Your cues.
Being able to hear those hunger cues, well, the satiety cues, that a fullness there, it made a difference for me in the sense that it finally put to rest those ideas of good and bad when it came to food. It really helped things become very neutral for me because I no longer was able to overindulge, right? Of anything. And by not overindulging, things no longer were good or bad. They were just the amount I was able to consume, right? It was never too much of a good thing or too much of a bad thing. It was just a thing. And so it really helped put to rest that good and bad mentality. And I found that to be a blessing, really. And that was one of the last vestiges of diet culture that was haunting me personally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. That was definitely one of the last things for me to go.
One of the things that also, when I first started, I remember thinking that I needed to chase like maximum like suppression.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of how when people in the lives, I don't know if you get this all the time, they're like, when does the hunger go away? And I thought that was like, the hunger was one of the things that was supposed to go away. And then now I'm like, no, I actually love that there's hunger cues.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy that this, because it's a healthy hunger, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say
But I
that.
do. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go.
No, I was just gonna say I do appreciate not waking up in the morning ravenous, though.
You ain't lying, because my stomach would. I felt like my stomach was touching my back, and it clearly wasn't. You know?
Like every morning would be first thought. Like you wake up and be like, "What can I shove in my face?"
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And to not have that be the first thought is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Well, I maybe naive, but I had no idea what food noise was until it wasn't there. And like Day, it was embarrassing. I would eat way too much and look around and wonder, well, why isn't everybody else this hungry and eating this much? But I had day one after my very first injection. I know what food noise is because I have none.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing, and I'm sure everybody's similar. But then you start eating for health, not eating for a craving or eating for stress or whatever. But it was mind-blowing for me very first day, and it continues to be that way. I mean, my body was waiting for Mounjaro.
Mm-hmm. Corey has said that. Corey has, I think you verbatim, like Corey, you were like,
really?
Yeah, like this is exactly what my body needed, right? Like
it was made for my body.
Yes.
mine
would-
too.
Okay, without this medication. That's why I'm always so like verbal about I didn't do anything. Like we can do, I mean, like, sure, I had protein and I did this and but I also had a hysterectomy. I've been very weak and I've had to get all my hormones leveled and I have not exercised because I've been very weak. And I'm just getting normalized now. My body has been fighting against me, but this medication just like seamless. And it's just, it really feels like a modern day miracle, you know? So that's why I'm just like, it's not because don't blame yourself when it's not the perfect fit. For many people, retatrutide is going to be the perfect fit, you know, and then they're going to be like, oh, I know what you're talking about. This is amazing. This is amazing. So yeah, I can't wait. I can't as somebody who is in maintenance, I know I don't have to feel this way and I shouldn't maybe in a way. I feel not guilty, but I feel like just almost a sense of guilt. Like I just want you out there who are not experiencing the exact same that I have. I just want these medications to be out there for you because I'm like, it's coming. It's coming. I can't wait for it to come for you. And that's what I was going to say about Dave's thing about relationship with food. This medication helped me to realize I didn't have a relationship with food. I just had a dysfunctional body. And if there was any sort of relationship, it was an abusive relationship that it put on me. You know, like I was being abused for decades. But it had nothing to do with that because as soon as I started taking it, within hours, the light switch turned off and everything was, I was like, oh, this is what people live like. This is,
Yes.
it was amazing. I didn't have to consume every 10 because that's what my life was like beforehand. Every 10 minutes, I had to have a piece of something, just anything, a piece of something. And then I'd be like, I'll be fine for hours. It's going to be fine. And 10 minutes later, it'd come back in my head and I'd have to satisfy it. And that went away immediately. And it has never returned unless I extend it out too far and it comes back. So I saw in maintenance, I always have to kind of figure out how long, because sometimes if I take it every 7 days, I start losing a little bit again and I don't want to. So I have to extend it out and then I get some food noise back. So you just play with it. It's not a big deal to me though.
Yeah, for sure. I just lost what I was going to say. Damn it. It'll come back to me.
Can I hit on the topic?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to butt in. Yeah, so I described this. I was in a CNN article and they asked me how I described food noise, and I described it as an insatiable itch. For me, the way that I looked at it is like if you have ever had poison ivy or like a rash and you are scratching it and like nothing is satisfying that itch until you get like maybe a cortisone cream or something on it. Like Manjaro was that for me with food. I honestly never had a healthy relationship with food. I BE, and it was constantly my coping mechanism. When you're sad, you eat. When you're happy and celebrating something, your birthday or something, you eat. You know, when you're anxious, you eat. And sometimes you're just eating just out of boredom, frankly. And for me, so that was my thing, and that's how I coped. And this medication changed everything for me. So this is the solution to the insatiable itch that I struggled with my entire life and didn't even realize I had. So
Yeah.
I have a really different view on it. It's something I learned through therapy and again, just kind of talking to the community. I grew up in a family where we did not have a lot of money. And so as I became older and I made my own way and I did my own things, I didn't realize how excited I got about things that I didn't have access to as a child.
Mm.
And it almost created this world of like, kind of like Jackson said, the only time we did anything was if it was our birthday, or, payday came a little early, and, our hamburger helper had meat in it that, that day, kind of thing. um there were moments where I got so excited, and so in my brain what I learned is that it was such a positive thing for me, that later on in life, even doing it, knowing consciously that it's not good for me, it was such a good feeling for me to have that reward and feeling successful and feeling like I could provide for my family and go out to eat special places and things like that, that um you know it just became something I didn't even know was a problem. And then once this turned that part of my brain off, it was within probably my first 2 weeks. I was a very slow responder. I didn't have a whole lot of loss, or if any loss, the first like almost 6 weeks. Um, but one of the things I noticed was when I saw food, it didn't make me super excited to see it. Like I could easily say, like, okay, that's a bagel. I get a bagel at any time. I already ate breakfast. I don't need a bagel at the office, right? It's just a bagel. Whereas before, I would eat a full breakfast, go to work, see bagels on the table, go to my desk, hyper think about them for over an hour, force myself to eat a bagel anyway, just to like calm my brain down so I could even work. And so for the first time, I was that turned off, and it shook my world. Absolutely shook my world. That was something that was a huge deal for me. So it's definitely an interesting way to see it. But just even being able to focus on my kids, on my family, on work, it changed my world that way for sure.
That's a very interesting, because now that when you brought that up, it made me think about that. Because like growing up, traditional Indian households, right? Like it was like Indian food. We never got to go out and eat. Like it was home cooked meal, like 7 days a week, right? So I never got the fun stuff like McDonald's and cookies and all that other stuff. So when I became an adult and had adult money, I was like, gimme, gimme, gimme. Like I'm gonna have all the things, So now that you mentioned that, I'm thinking to myself, like I went overboard with what I wasn't not allowed to have, but we didn't have access to growing up. That just hit me right now when you were talking about that.
Yeah, I had like a breakthrough in therapy, and she talked about like my childhood and how it was, and I really thought that I was going to focus on like the Clear Your Plate Club from back in the 80s and 90s and things like that, but it really hit me when I realized how excited I got to see things, like even going to the grocery store. There were times in the once we like started with like Instacart and things like that to be able to order food, I even paying the premium, I still ordered less food because I wasn't at the store seeing things that made me excited to see them, because I could have them. You know what I mean? And so it's been a really big lesson around not only recognizing it, but also finding things that can replace that feeling in ways that I have been missing out on. Again, reading and other hobbies, and, being part of this community and TikTok and all the things that give me the same feelings without it having to be surrounding that part of my life. So it's been really interesting.
One of the things that you talked about, Heather, that I think is really interesting is the hyperfixating. Um, because we talk a lot in this community about the food noise part of it, about how, the thoughts of the food, but hyperfixating on food when it's around. I don't think we talk about that as much, but I think that's a pretty universal experience also. Like your experience with the bagels, like you go into work and like there's a treat and like, should I get a cookie? How many cookies should I have? I should get two. I should pace myself. No. How
And
many? before
can I
people
get a
notice, I'll get a cookie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how can I get a third one without anybody seeing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, did we all hyperfixate like that on like food when it was just hanging around?
Can we talk about the worst thing is school pizza party? They will cut that pizza into 24 pieces and it's meant for 8 pieces.
Right.
And you always wanted more. You
Yeah.
always wanted more. It was never enough.
Yeah, because you got like this much of it, and you're
A
like,
sliver. You got a bite.
I just remember like looking back, the bagel thing was a real incident. This really truly happened. It was like such like a core thing for me. I thought to myself, I can literally buy a bagel anywhere. It's not like I have to hunt for bagels anymore. Like they're available, right?
Mhm.
It's not expensive. Like
Yeah.
why am I sitting here, a grown, successful, smart person, and I feel like devastated about not like being able to allow myself that bagel. It was crazy. It was so crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
I'm not gonna lie.
hyperfixation is something
I think I would still have food noise over a bagel.
Not these bagels. After having one in New York, these bagels are, it's just a roll at this point in
I
Texas.
mean, cinnamon cream cheese, that's where it's at.
Now I want a damn bagel.
But the other side too is now, because I have a better relationship with it, I now can have said bagel. I can eat half of a bagel. I can eat 3 bites of the bagel and be happy with it as well. It's just like a whole other monster now that that was so controlling. I don't have to finish it. If I do want something, that's what I tell people a lot when they talk about like, what do you eat in a day? What do you do this? And I said, there are nights when I will sit in bed past 10 o'clock at night with cheesecake, which diet culture says, no, that's really bad. You should never do that. And we've all been made to feel terrible and guilty about it. But I can now eat 3 bites of the cheesecake and put it back in the fridge, and it's not a big deal, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which I would never.
And cheesecake won't haunt you.
No.
Right. Just take the bite. Just take the bite. I no longer eat the entire cheesecake, but I can have 3 bites of it.
But how wild is that we have allowed ourselves to feel guilty about something that is so blatantly, obviously genetic, like there's something in our body or something chemically driving us prior to being on this journey, prior to having access to this incredible medication, that we could not do that before, and all of a sudden we can. Like, how is that not showing society that there's something else going on here, that this is not about willpower or drive or being weak? This is us battling our own bodies.
Mm-hmm.
No different than if you had any other issues. Like, I have an autoimmune disease. Not once when I've told someone I have an autoimmune disease, my body attacks my liver, have they said, you should probably like try harder to not attack your liver cells. Mm-hmm. I don't have control over that. Right? So it's something interesting too, to kind of focus on that. It's definitely not the willpower. It's definitely that chemical piece to the puzzle.
People are definitely predisposed to food noise. Like I remember being a child and literally eating like Lay's barbecue chips until I was sick. Like I could not stop. I didn't want to stop. And I would go back. Like I would close the bag like I was done and I would go back. Like I remember it vividly. And I do think from a young age, and also because I was sickly as a child and I was on prednisone, which I think ruined my metabolism, was a massive part to why I gained so much weight. I think that I think I was predisposed to food noise. I think I always struggled with a relationship with food, and I just wasn't cognizant of it until I was, later in life.
And I didn't.
Were you also in the closet, like literally?
Oh yeah, I was in the closet too, eating Lay's
with the chips
in the closet.
I remembered what I was going to say. So you remember how we were just talking about how you guys were saying that when you took the medication, it was almost like a light switch. Like it was like an instant thing in your brain If you have not, Dave posted a video about like the science behind it. If you have not watched it, check it out. There's actual science behind this. So I just had to throw that out there real quick.
Mhm.
I mean, I spent time just self-loathing because I would be like with the chips, you know, and looking at other people like, well, I can't believe you don't want to eat this whole bag of chips.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I want to eat this whole cheesecake, and sometimes do, and I'm just weak.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was never, why don't you want to? For me, it was, why do you want to, Sabrina? Like, what's wrong with you? Something's wrong with you. That's how I would frame it every single time in my brain. You're broken.
That's what the world tells us.
Your is in a way. I mean, like, it's not you, Sabrina, but it is your body that is,
Yeah.
you know, and it's still no blame.
Right. But like at that time, it was like a willpower thing. Because I would be like, no, you're not going to go back and open up that bag of chips. You've already had enough. And I would inevitably go back and open up the bag of chips. And man, did that. So not only was I physically sick, but I was like mentally just tearing myself apart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So much has changed, like learning about everything, the medication, that obesity is a disease. I mean, it has changed and shifted so much for so many of us. A lot of us ourselves.
Honestly, even just learning about obesity, because just because you struggle with it doesn't mean you know about it. I had no idea what I was predisposed to. I had no idea what could happen in my 50s and 60s and 70s. No one had, like, I don't know about y'all, but growing up, we all learned to stop, drop, and roll if we were on fire. No one told us the signs of pre-diabetic, or that diabetes means that your organs are shutting down and failing. Like, nobody stops and talks about those things. And so even just in this community, the knowledge around those things that we get to pass on to our kids, our families, our neighbors, people that, for me, I talk about it everywhere I go. So people on the street, even to be able to spread that knowledge alone is even something that's a huge deal too. It's not something we've ever, like, no one's ever stopped to talk to us about it, or at least I didn't. Even doctors and things like that, they always told you needed to lose, but never told you why.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, let's talk about it. Like, a couple of things, like the stop, drop, and roll. I mean, I thought that was like, I was going to use that a bunch of times in my life.
Right.
About it.
Raise your hand if anyone here has ever stopped, dropped, or had to roll.
I knew I was going to be stuck in some quicksand. Like the stuff.
It was a 1-2. They were up there.
I mean, the stuff that they drove home, y'all couldn't have said one or two sentences about obesity.
Right. Right. For sure.
Did everyone go who wanted to answer Dave's question?
Oh, that's funny.
Okay.
Great question, Dave.
Yeah, good question.
So this one comes from Kimberly. And I'm just going to paraphrase it. So did you share your GLP-1 journey with your friends and family right away? Why or why not? And how did you handle it when people asked if a GLP-1 was behind the weight loss or improved health, especially if you were not ready to share?
I'll go. I shared it with my friends right away, because it was life changing right away for me. Because I remember I injected on May the 3rd, and on May the 5th, it was Cinco de Mayo, and I didn't have food aversion, but I was disinterested in food, and that was life changing. I sat down in front of a bowl of tortilla chips and salsa. I was like, I don't want this. And that had never happened to me a day in my life. And I had to explain it. and so um, why I didn't want it. And so I had to explain it to my friend, and it was an easy conversation. I was like, I'm on Mounjaro, and I'm excited for it because I read this, and I know it has this kind of weight loss in the clinical trials, and I don't know, I think this is going to be a good thing. And it had me very excited for the journey. And I'm still as excited to this day because that same May 5th was the day that I discovered the TikTok community. Because, injected myself, and then 2 days later, I was like, I bet you they're talking about this on TikTok. And apparently they were. So, yeah, it's changed my life. So, yeah, I talked about it very openly. And now my mom's on Ozempic, um, and half my friends are on some GLP-1, and I will proselytize as much as I can. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I can go next. I did a little bit of both. When I first started, because it was so early, I we didn't really know how to talk about it in the first place. It wasn't something that was like super exciting or cool. It wasn't covered in the news. And so it wasn't something that I felt like sharing with a lot of people. The other piece of that is that we were, treated super poorly in the medical community. I had pharmacists in front of an entire line full of people at the grocery store ask me if I was diabetic and how I felt about taking medicine from people who are diabetic. And so there was a lot of shame in the very beginning, a lot of shame, especially because, again, at over 220 and 5'5", I kind of joked that I carried everything very easily, and it was harder to see that I struggled with obesity. And my age, people just didn't see it as something that was important the way I did. And so it was really shameful. But then because I found it on TikTok, I found someone that happened to be telling their story. It happened fairly quickly that I realized nobody else has to live in my body. Nobody else has to struggle the way that I do. And on the contrary, if I am just learning about this, then me talking to people about it could help save other people the way it did me. And so the second that kind of came to me, I started yelling it from the rooftops, whether people liked it or not, because I wanted to be healthy for my children. I wanted to be able to be happy in my skin. I know a lot of people, we still talk a lot about the physical, like health aspects of it, but I think there's a mental health aspect of it too, of like, I wanted to feel beautiful. Like I wanted to enjoy, like I'm not getting any younger. I want to set a good example for my daughters and feel good in my skin. And so once that started happening, good, bad, or ugly, I will talk to everyone. If I go to a movie theater, if I'm walking down the street, I mean, in Atlanta, we told the waitress that we that we took the medicine. I mean, you name it, I will tell people, because even if they don't like it, if two people over at the next table hear me talking about it and start doing some research and it saves them from becoming type 2 diabetic or continuing down the path of obesity, then that's really, really important to me. So, yeah, I yell it from the rooftops. I wear t-shirts about it.
Same.
yeah.
Literally.
The waitress also did this. She said,
She knew.
we said we were on Ozempic, and she said like this. Like what?
Oh my God.
Ma'am, are you okay?
Yeah.
No,
That is not the FDA approved injection site,
Yes.
ma'am.
Seriously. Every Uber driver in Atlanta was tired of me. I was like,
Us too.
they were like, are you here for business or pleasure? I'm like, well, actually. Like I had pulled up because I was meeting Jay and Mike to go for a walk in the morning, and like I had pulled up and the guy still like, he's like, okay, like we're here. And I was like, well, hold on, one more thing. Out of my car.
Have you heard?
So I also will tell everyone about it because it's just changed my life so significantly. However, on the flip side of that, I know several people who do not feel comfortable sharing it. this is your protected medical information,
Yeah.
right? This is like, I mean, HIPAA, like all the things. Like, if you are not comfortable sharing your medical information, that's by all means, please don't feel like you need to. For those, there are so many Heather's, Jay's, like Jack's, like there's so many of us that just sing it from the rooftops that you can't really go on TV or on TikTok or any kind of social media without having heard of it. So, if you don't feel like telling people, you don't owe anyone anything. So,
and practice telling them that it's not their business too. I highly suggest that as well. Of if you are starting your journey and this is something that you don't want to talk about, like sit in the mirror and pretend when someone says like, "Oh, are you on that shot?" Because it's going to happen.
Yes.
Saying, "I'd rather not talk about it," or "My health journey is my private journey. Like I'm not really interested in it," and just leave it at that. Like they don't have to know. But don't feel like you're put on the spot either. Like practice that because it's going to happen when your clothes get smaller and everything else. It's just inevitable right now because people ask all the time.
Yeah.
And also practice for when you end up in the uncomfortable situation where people start talking smack about people that take the injections because they don't know that you take them. Because they will do that because they will assume that you are not.
All the time. All the time.
And so
I have my own reasons for not wanting to be public knowledge. Like I started in my introduction, I've got a daughter who's struggling with an eating disorder, and I feel like the less people who know, then the less likely this is going to become a thing. So I kind of feel like I'm protecting her. But honestly, people are like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I tell them the truth. I'm working hard. I'm working out. I've changed my dietary choices, and I'm proud that my diabetes is under control. But they don't like those answers.
Right.
They want to know. Well, are you? And I can tell by their attitude, or the way they say it. You're not on those GLP-1s, are you? Or are you taking medicine? And I'm thinking, even if I was telling people, I wouldn't have a discussion with you because I can tell by your questions, it's going to be negative. So there's still a stigma about it. There's still a lot of ignorance. There's very opinionated friends and family, and it's been hard. I would love to share with people the success I've had and the fact that it's been life-changing. But I'm choosing not to for my own personal reasons. And I think there are some people out there who, for one reason or another, are choosing not to tell people.
Absolutely. And so, and a lot of times it's a dear friend, someone that you love and respect, or, even a family member, and you don't want to just go full blown Sabrina on them and be like, none of your damn business. Right. So like to approach it and find a way to say it with love, but with a boundary. Right. So
I say, why do you ask?
Or even I'm working closely with my doctor on becoming the healthiest version of myself, and leave it at that. If they ask you any more questions, I'm dealing with my doctor. I'm working with my doctor.
And just because you tell someone too doesn't mean that the reaction is going to be positive. Jackson and I had a lovely social media argument with a family member of mine who I have since then completely cut off because he was unbelievably rude and obnoxious about it. And that's totally fine too. Everyone's allowed to have their opinions about it. I just think that their opinion is wrong. And so I don't have to listen to it. So, yeah, I think it's great for you, Kimberly. It's really, really powerful and strong for you to do that for your family for sure.
Yeah. But I don't think you have to, even if you decide to keep it to yourself, I don't think you have to be in a position where you have to be uncomfortable by someone's terrible, uneducated opinions about these medications, right? And so I think everybody should be prepared to hear ignorance about it, and prepare yourself for it and how you're going to handle it, how you fortify yourself for that. If you aren't going to sit out yourself, about taking the medication and stand up that way, be prepared how you're going to mentally fortify yourself, because you're going to hear people say some terrible things about people that take the medication, and you don't want to take that to heart. So for people that do decide to keep it to themselves, when people around you say terrible things about people that take the medication,
Yeah.
just be prepared to fortify yourself somehow.
And
Absolutely.
here's a great thing is you have a community to lean on and to express yourself and be open and vulnerable with, that you don't have to have the other people. Like you don't need them. You have us to lean on, so you can share your journey here and feel a lot less judgment, because it's
Mhm.
all people that are on the same journey as you.
Yeah, I'm so glad I found this community. I mean, my doctor knew a little, and informed me, and I did some research, but I found Dave almost immediately, ordered his book, just read his book. I found Sabrina. Yep, there you go. The panels. I've learned so much, and really, even though I'm not out there, I've got a lot of content in my head, but I'm not putting it out there like you guys said, to protect my family, or my daughter especially. But I've learned so much, and I've felt encouraged. I've gotten comments and messages and things like that. So I really do, and I'd be going crazy if I didn't have this community. Because it's been a private thing. I want to tell people. I see people and I wonder if they know about GLP-1s. I wonder if they know. I wonder if it would help them. But at this point, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
And
And honestly, I honor and respect that, right? Honor and respect that.
And I also love that you bring that perspective too, because I think especially being like on social media, it's easy to forget that there are people out there that have other reasons behind it. When like me personally, I can't speak for everybody, but I'm so passionate about it. It doesn't even fathom like anywhere in my brain that I wouldn't want to. So I love your perspective on it and really appreciate being able to kind of learn that and take that later on as I see people too of talking about it, or being as open at the table maybe or in the Uber.
I guess I'm what you call a GLP-1 creeper, because I creep around. I follow everybody. I comment. I message, but I just don't. I don't create content.
we had plenty of creepers in Atlanta this weekend, and it was great.
That's what you guys are the
Maybe
heart.
a different word.
Yeah.
You guys are the heart of the GLP-1 community. Honestly, the ones who support come through, and I mean, you guys are my favorite part of the community.
It's so fun to meet those people in person, because you only get so out of them, because they're always coming into, and it's wonderful, but you're like, I don't really know you as much. And so to be able to meet in person, just amazing. Really get to know these people who you hear from all the time, and you're like, oh, okay, now we can really connect more. So
Can we call them GLP-1 silent partners instead of creepers?
There you go.
Yeah.
I feel like a silent partner would be he just feels better.
Well, it's just interesting. I feel like I have set my boundaries for my own reasons. And then when I give inquisitive people, I mean, they notice, I lost 25% of my body weight. They're going to notice. And I knew that. And I went to the community and was doing research to figure out what answers people were giving. It's like when I feel like I give them a sufficient answer, they want more.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good enough.
And a lot of times it's not because they're looking for, it's just curiosity, it's gossip. You can tell who's asking for like medical reasons for themselves, or someone who's just digging for gossip.
Yeah.
And but also, I'm sorry. But also there's this thing about weight loss where people feel comfortable and overly familiar to the point where they feel like they need all the details. You see it even in the community a lot where they're like, well, what did you eat specifically, like for breakfast? Like, how much ketchup did you use? Was it 1.5 ounces? Like, like
Yeah.
they
Yes.
want every detail. Like they feel like with weight loss, like they have permission.
Right.
And I don't know as a society why we're there. I haven't figured that part
Yeah.
out quite yet.
Yeah.
I don't
I was just
get
about
that.
to ask. Sorry, go ahead, Kimberly.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, people are asking, well, are you on GLP-1? And I like, well, are you taking medicine for COPD? Are you taking? I mean, you know, you're basically asking a person's medical history and what you're taking. And I come back with, why do you ask? And then if they say something snarky about GLP-1s, I'll ask, well, what do you know about GLP-1s? And it's a lot of ignorance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It really is.
I'll go back to the topic. I started sharing because of the community. And because I didn't see a whole lot of men. There were not that many men when I started, I don't think. Like, I'm just trying to think, like Jamie, Pug, AJ, Jay, obviously, Louie.
I wasn't creating content.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Anyway, there just wasn't a whole lot of men sharing, so felt like there was that void there. Like, there's guys on this journey as well, and I feel like their voice isn't really important. I think that oftentimes, for men, they're told that like if they're vulnerable or if they're showing too much emotion, then that is weakness. And I just I don't subscribe to that. I think that men should be vulnerable. I think that that shows strength. So I think that men should share more. And I welcome men into the community that share. Now there's so much more representation, and I think that that's really important. So I'm always happy to see more guys, and I think that it's really important for anyone that's like, there's so many women that are on this journey that have husbands that, maybe on a GLP and they're not sharing, but their wife is sharing. So, but everyone has to get comfortable with their level of willingness to share. So
I loved the all male panel that you did a couple months ago. That really provided me perspective that lots of things I hadn't thought of, and I loved that you made that happen.
Yeah, I struggled with it for months. I mean, I started talking about it in October, and then it took me months and months and months to finally. I had like imposter syndrome. Like, who the hell are you to do this, right? Like, who are you to hold a men's panel? And then Brian, you guys know Brian. I called Brian. I'm like, Brian, help me get out of my head, and he did. He helped me get out of my head, and it was wonderful to get all like everyone's perspective and their side of this journey. It was, I think it was great. And I'd like to eventually do another one because there are so many men I'd like to have up on the panel. So we'll do another one soon.
I didn't, to go back to the question, I found out about it from my sister. So she knew that I was starting it. She was the only person who knew because we were both doing it. And I did not tell my husband for the first 3 months. I just was like, I'm fine. I'm fine. Things were very different. He didn't know what was going on. But I, once again, like anything else I've done for decades, I really didn't share at first because I was like, this is just going to be another thing that I fail at, that I've spent a lot of money on. And I was very fearful of that. Just like, I just don't want to feel like a failure yet again. And that I've like taken this money, because back then, and they gave me a great price at my local IV place. I think it was like $500 a month. And that was great back then. That was great. It was, otherwise it would have been like hundreds where it was crazy. And so I didn't say anything. And then once I found out that Zepbound was coming out, and that my insurance covered it and I got it covered. Like I went through all the steps. I then told him, by the way, I'm going to be doing this, just so you know. For the last couple of months, he was like, what are you talking about? So, and I don't like that part of me that I did that, but it very vulnerable that I've been doing for decades, because I felt like I failed and failed and failed and failed and failed, and it was never going to succeed. And this was just going to be another measure of failure. So when it wasn't, and when it turned out to be so superb, you couldn't keep me quiet. I mean, I've gone to 2 meetups, you know. I've left him for the weekend, and I've gone to 2 meetups, and I've done all kinds of things, and I'm on here all the time, and I've helped so many family and friends. I mean, it feels like it's the good news. I'm sharing it with everybody, you know. So, I mean, once you find like what feels like a modern day miracle, you're like, I am going to now tell everybody, take the shame away from it as much as I can in the ability that I have to share. And I don't think anything twice about anybody who's not comfortable doing that. There are those of us who are comfortable, and so we'll do it. No big deal. And we'll help to influence things. And you just take the medication and get healing. Great, you know?
Yeah, exactly, Corey. For those of you who don't feel comfortable, there are so many of us who do. So we'll fight the fight, you know? We'll fight the fight. So, and Kimberly, like, I send you lots of love and support for you and your family.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It is very, very difficult when I've got somebody under my roof who I mean, again, I don't know who's dealt with people with eating disorders, but the eating disorder does not allow her mind to understand that I need to lose weight to be healthy. She needs to gain weight to be healthy. I mean, that mental illness just does not, that doesn't make sense. And so it has to be, I mean, I have to hide my medicine because it's in the refrigerator and she can't see it. And yeah, it's difficult.
I'm sending you love and support.
Thank you. I'm going to keep going. I mean, I'm going to keep going. This is what, like Corey was saying, my body needed this.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to keep going and continue to reap the benefits.
Well,
I just have to walk on eggshells.
On the airplanes, they tell you for the parents to put the mask on yourself first.
Right.
For your child, you're taking care of yourself. You have to, you know, I mean, it's the best thing that you can do for yourself and your family.
Yeah.
And I think you may find, I don't think a lot of us talk about this that much anymore, but in this community, you'll find a large array of people who have dealt with EDs, including, and so if you reach out in messages and things, people may be a little bit more open. I know for me, it resolved it for me. And I mean, it's not like that's why I had gotten so large, because I wasn't in that active phase for years and years and years. But that started for me when I was in high school. And so once it turned off the switch, I never had another issue with it, you know. And I went through therapy for it because I needed to be approved for things and whatnot. But you'll find that a lot of people in this community dealt with that.
Oh yeah, I've heard and seen stories. I have.
To add to the question earlier, my aunt was on the GLP-1 for a while, because I believe it was PCOS that she had. I never really directly asked her about it. I felt like it wasn't my place to ask the reason. And then my mom got on it before me for the diabetes too. So I think they were a good support system to have at the start. But as far as other people, I didn't share. My boyfriend didn't even know until a month later, where I kind of hey, I'm taking a medication to help me lose weight. He was like, "What? Why? why are you taking this? He was like, he was almost horrified, but I don't think he ever knew how unhealthy I really was. I never really, I wasn't really, like, I was ashamed to share that I was so unhealthy because it felt like it was my fault. So I did it, but I told him it was mainly because I wanted to be healthy again. He's now coming around to now. He goes into the lives and he'll respond to some of the people's question, or he's absorbing the information now. So, but outside people, I don't know. There are people I know not to share, but other times I'm like, oh, sometimes I'll hear someone in the grocery store one time and they were mentioning something that they were struggling to lose weight, and I'm a very anxious person. I don't go approach people, but I went up to this lady and I was like, there's a medication that can help you to lose weight, and I just kind of sent her a couple links at the time, and she was like, she was like, really, thank you so much. I'm gonna look into this because I don't know. Hopefully she got the answers, but that was the only time I was like, I really felt like I wanted to help people somehow.
Yeah.
I started my journey a little bit after that, I think.
That's good, though. That's really good. You may have changed her life.
Oh yeah.
You may have changed her life. So.
I mean, you were bold enough to do that, and that's really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And was receptive, and she was probably like, "Thank God, thank you."
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, because I can tell you this: had someone come up to me while I was at the height of my struggle, I mean, I would have probably kissed them. Like just to have that, I would have been so grateful, so grateful. So that's great that you did that. But so this one is actually from Jackson, and I'm sure he'll be back. But what's one totally unexpected side effect of being on GLP-1 meds that no one warned you about?
I can
Yeah.
go, but it's definitely a little traumatic. It's not what I would have expected for sure.
Yeah, I want to know about the traumatic part.
Yeah. So I don't share a whole lot with just the whole world, but today's a new day. Here we are. This past year, I went through a separation with my ex-husband of almost 13 years because he had an affair with my closest friend. And while that doesn't seem like it would be tied to a journey that is so positive, to me, it was something that was really interesting because the more I talked about it with people that had also been through like bariatric surgeries or had been on journeys where they had lost large amounts, it's surprisingly not uncommon for you to go through that when you change so much as a person. I gained so much confidence. I gained so much independence and being able to do things on my own that I feel like there was a huge disconnect in my relationship that not saying I caused an affair, obviously. However, our relationship changed so much because of the journey I was on. We didn't eat dinner together. We didn't do the same things. I was, focusing on me and my body and how I felt. I was buying new clothes. I was getting attention from people. And so it changed a lot. And obviously, while divorce isn't awesome, it ended up being really good for me because it showed me that that person that I was so unhappy, and it was so dependent on everyone else, and it was so I just wasn't me. And so for me, that was the biggest change that came from it that I would have never had expected. I thought I would probably have made everything amazing and wonderful. But in the end, I now get to live a life and I get to find somebody who loves me for the person I also love, not just the person that I want someone to love. Right. And so it's a weird one. I know y'all probably didn't even expect that one. But it was something that was really, really different for me, but I hear a lot about it in the community.
It's hard, it sounds like, because you as a person, you're on this journey of growth, right? And change. And the person that you're with, you kind of need them to grow and change with you at the same pace. And that's asking a lot for some people.
You
And
definitely
I'm
like find out
sorry that you had to go
who your
through that.
friends are for sure.
Yeah.
The great thing though is that this community has, and like I said, unknowingly has gotten me through some of like my darkest moments and my darkest times of like for the first time in over a decade, like sitting in bed alone. I could have been in a place that was really, really hard, but I could jump on Sabrina's live. I could jump on yours. I could watch Jackson in a light up cowboy hat, like talking about these things, and like their lives are just getting better and better and better. And it truly has done such a huge, it's really made everything so much better, like in every part of it. So yeah, it's to me, it's so much better. It's a hard thing to go through, but I couldn't imagine living the next 10 years again in a body, in a mindset, in a place where I was so miserable. Like I get to be such a better person for my family and my kids and my friends now. This is good.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm sad and pissed off as hell that you went through that. Like rage, right? But
Juicy.
I'm happy that you're doing well and you're better on the other side of it.
Yeah, definitely. But it is something in our community, I think, that is not talked about as much because I don't think people correlate it to that, because you don't just physically change, you mentally and emotionally change as a person when you drop the type of weight that I did or that we all did. Like you totally change. And you know, good, bad, or worse. Nice thing is that we do it together here. So.
Yeah. I think there are quite a few relationships, marriages that the dynamic changes because we change.
Yeah.
I mean, my husband was reeling at the beginning of my journey. He's like, and I mean, he's like, I don't like change. I'm like, this is happening.
I think in some places I see it, obviously it gets better too. Again, you get to a place where you are mentally like super happy and excited, and if you have a partner that is super supportive of you, I imagine it would be an absolute like joy to go through it together. So both sides, but it's just, I think so the overall is that, the relationships, not only with your spouse, your loved ones, again, even your friends, people judging you for what you're doing and how you're doing it, a lot of that changes. And so I definitely would say to be ready if you're at the beginning of your journey to really stay true to yourself.
Yes.
And again, when things are getting hard, to seek therapy and talk to people and keep people close to you that are going to support you and are going to lift you up, even when the people that you truly want to can't, because they don't understand, which is also fair. It's hard to understand if you're not in what we're doing, if you're not in it. So definitely surround yourself with that support that you need, because that is also a big part of that success too.
I agree with that 100%. 100%.
And heavy on the seek therapy part. Don't be afraid to do that. Professionals, they're out there.
Yes, the professionals are out there. As healing as this panel has been for so many people. I mean, absolutely. But baby, go to an actual professional.
Right.
We're just talking about shared experiences, right? Like, go to an actual therapist, please. Okay, so for me, the one like unexpected thing for me, I guess, was finding a lot of trauma that I didn't know was there. I did not know a lot of this was even there, and the community and doing the panels and just kind of chatting through my thoughts and my feelings, I realized there's quite a bit. And once some of that got released, deep trauma that I had just buried and like piled more on top of, that kind of like when it was almost like Jay described it as like releasing a pressure valve of like, And then when like when I was like processing and feeling that and then releasing it, like the cancer trauma came up and I was like, whoa, what's this? I had no idea it was even there. I had no idea it was even there. That was probably the most unexpected thing that I was shocked by that.
I think for me, the thing that shocks me the most is the hostility and jealousy from friends and people that I thought would support me, but just don't act supportive. Like this is good for me. My health is good. I mean, have you guys experienced that with friends and acquaintances who are jealous of your success?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was not prepared for that.
Yep. I lost friends that I didn't think I would ever lose.
Yep. Cut them. I like that, Jay. Cut them. Yeah. I don't need the baggage.
I just don't have room for it in my life. Right. Like I'm running as fast as I can to the healthiest, like best version of myself. And if you're not going to be running with me, I mean, that's fine. Just stay out of my way. Right. Like just move. I've got a whole community of people that can and do support.
For me, the biggest surprise side effect has been my lack of sense of time. I I had no clue of how much time has passed or how much time I'm investing in things anymore. Like I just have no sense of time, and so I'm at the point where the time that it takes for things to happen is the time that it takes for things to happen, and any and everyone is just going to have to deal with it. So if it takes me 12 hours on live during the week to talk about GLP-1s, that's how long it takes for me to talk about GLP-1s. If it takes me 4 years to get to my goal weight, then it takes 4 years. I don't know. Like I've lost all sense of time. It is what it is, and everyone has to deal.
Yeah. That's a lot of times when like I like the way you always have like your mindset is around the time part of this, right? Because there are like periods of our journey where um the scale doesn't move down or body isn't bodying, right? So I'm like, how are you doing on your journey? And you're like, I'm totally fine with it. My body will release it when it's ready to. And I'm like, that's just such a good mindset. You know, because I mean, there's other people that are fighting for their life. They're just like, but you're like,
They're like, December 31st, this needs to happen. I'm like,
yeah, right. And like you're putting these arbitrary like dates on your journey, and you are just always like, it'll happen when it happens. Like I'm in no hurry, and I respect that. I really do. It helps me refocus because I'm like, I've been at this 2 years. Can I get there already? How long is this going to take? But then I have to remind myself, I'm doing decades. I'm undoing decades of damage. Decades of, I can't say like neglect because that's not the right word, but of course that's the first word that popped into my brain, but that's not correct.
a complex metabolic disease is what we're dealing with here, with some pretty strong medications. Yeah. So
Similar to like what Heather was saying is finding yourself, because I used to seek a lot of validation from other people because I wasn't happy within myself and my body. And I was seeking like validation from everyone, like my boyfriend, my family, because I wasn't happy with how I looked. And I would even remember going to the mall and trying on things and nothing ever fit. Everything was either too small or just very unhappy seeing it on myself. And that was like a big mental hit for the longest time. And and it didn't prepare me, because as I was on my journey, I don't even think around like the 3rd month mark, I stopped seeking validation from people. I was starting to get happy within myself. I did things for me, not for anyone else anymore. I wasn't seeking that outside clarification, validation. I was happy to do things just for me. My boyfriend kind of had to adjust to that because he was like, "You don't go to me for the validation anymore." I'm like, "I love you, but I'm confident. I'm loving myself where I haven't given myself that love in years."
Yes.
I love this. This is like making my whole day. That's amazing.
I had no idea that would be one of the effects ever.
Just had to check him a little bit, and I appreciate that.
Still love you, but now I also love myself, right? That's great. That's really good.
I guess the most surprising, it really would just be this community, but just how involved and invested I got from the beginning. Just the first person I ever saw was Dave. And then I was like you all, we were just obsessive on lives and listening and talking and doing it very quietly. And I'd always had, like, when I did that that Christmas thing, the 12 days of Christmas, and we got the headphones with it or whatever, we're always listening, just talking so that our family doesn't have to hear or whatever. Just consuming this knowledge and this information and this validation and just the reiteration that it's not my fault, and just purging myself of diet culture, and just evolving in that way, and then taking that and helping not just people in the world, which I'm sure we know that it's a lot of people, but we really know people like your friends and family that it's helping, and they're coming to you, and you walk through the entire journey with them, from insurance to not insurance to finding the best place that you can get it from, compounded, to doing this, to doing that, side effects, letting them cry to you. I mean, just like all the stuff. When would I have ever imagined even talking about my weight with anyone about anything? And now it's like all of this stuff everywhere, and then putting pictures of myself online that I mean, I would FaceTime, I like really edited it down. Like I would be a lot skinnier than I was. And then it just looks so weird. But I had no pictures of myself for decades, like anywhere. Pictures already would hide. And now I'm just putting them out there. And but I just want people to be able to relate to it. And I don't have shame anymore. And to not have that shame, and to know that it was not my fault. And to know that I really am helping people. Has just been such a gift. But yeah, it's all been very, very surprising. Every aspect of that has been very surprising to walk through. And I've had to tone it back a lot sometimes. Like when we were at Atlanta, I said, I don't get on a lot of lives anymore, because I did it quite often. And I know, my husband and I are empty nesters, and I don't want to ignore him, all the time. So, and people could do lives during the day, group panels, but how it is. So that's why I'm like, well, it's my aspect to it is going to be a little different now, because I think it changes as it goes along the way. You're not meant to stay in this focus. I did a maintenance minute on this. You're not supposed to be in this hyper focus forever, and so there has to be a balance in your life. And so I'm now finding that balance, so that I have a good relationship at home, but then again, he doesn't mind that I go to Atlanta at all. He's happy for me to go. But it's the daily life type of stuff where I'm like, all right, I'm still going to be obsessive, but just at a different level. So, but it's been very surprising how wild it has felt.
I don't know what balance is.
Yeah, I mean,
We know.
I don't have a balance. I really like have to heavily work on that, and I probably need therapy. Balance is not my forte. I'm not good at like prioritizing one thing at a time. I'm good at prioritizing 20 things at a time, and my brain doesn't stop running like a hamster wheel. So that is definitely a problem.
That's not how the word prioritizing works.
Yeah. Yeah. I prioritize the entire list,
Right.
but at one
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Well, Jackson, the question was yours. It was, what's one totally unexpected side effect of being on GLP-1 meds that no one warned you about?
Yeah. So I wrote this question not knowing my own answer. I think the biggest thing is like I really didn't expect like people from high school to reach out. Like that was kind of weird. So like people from past life and preparation H sponsorship. I didn't expect that one. That one came out of nowhere. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's nuts. So like I think like people from my past life, I guess, reaching out. But preparation H is a close second for sure.
I love that. Okay, this one actually is also another one of Jackson's questions. What was the turning point that made you finally decide to prioritize your health and start this journey?
I mean, I always try. So this was literally just another one on the checklist. I was like, that's available? Great. I mean, right before this, I tried Contrave and some sort of pill that expands in your stomach that you had to get through a doctor. I had just done that, and I did look back in 2021, and it failed for me. So anytime there was something new, I was on it, and nothing ever worked. So this was the one where I was like, and this is the one. This is the one that worked. So I was choosing myself, trying to make myself the priority for my health, but nothing ever worked.
Corey, that expanding your stomach one sounds terrifying.
I know.
I did the Orbera balloon too.
Right, I forget the name of it.
Was it Orbera?
No, I think it started with a P or C. I can't remember. I only did it for like a month or so.
It was a scrub daddy. You swallowed it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I did the Orbera where they put the balloon in your stomach for 6 months. It was almost $10,000 out of pocket, and it did nothing but made me miserable.
Yes.
Just miserable.
Yeah.
What about tapeworms? Anybody try the tapeworms?
Oh God. Stop.
As a community, we do not support tapeworm.
No, we do not.
Just so everyone knows.
Yes. For me, the turning point for me is I just had everyone's got a wall, everyone's got a limit. In January of 23, I had hit mine. I could not continue to operate the way that I was. I could not go through my daily life existing at that level with that level of pain every single day. Every single day there was 8 or 9, and I woke up like out of 10. Like so, out of 10, I instantly had 8 or 9, and it just I could not continue, and I didn't want to. I just got tired, I guess. Like I'm like I didn't beat cancer to live like this, and something in my brain clicked, and I said, I'm going to gather my courage and go to the doctor and get all the tests done, get everything that I need to do and see what they've got. Because what I'm doing is obviously not working. So that was it for me. I just could not physically handle it anymore.
Well, I ignored the fact I was type 2 diabetic for a long time. It's one of those things where you've got it and you're like, well, I don't feel that bad. And I was just dumb. And so last year I decided, um, you know, okay, I'm diabetic. I need to do something about this. I was watching a friend just really struggle with diabetes and losing a toe and all that kind of thing. So I thought, oh, okay, so I don't want to be I don't want to be that person. So in August, I decided I was going to get back to start going to the gym, and I was going to watch what I ate. And so my A1C was high, and so I spent August to November just doing all the right things that I thought I needed to do. Went and got my blood test in November. I was expecting good things, like at least my A1C to drop. It went up. It went up. And I was just so excited, thinking that was going to improve, but with all my life changes. But I was just really mad and confused. And thankfully, my doctor had been doing research and heard GLP-1s and recommended Mounjaro. And I didn't know much about it other than the buzz that was going around social media. And so I did a deep dive, and like I said, day one after I took it, it has done all the things that it's supposed to. Yeah.
That's great.
For me, the change had to be when I got my type 2 diagnosis. Um, it took less than 24 hours for me to get injected with Mounjaro. Um, my health journey started almost immediately. I was ready to go. The door opened, I kicked it down.
I love that.
I've never heard that. Love that.
Yeah.
You've been inspiring us ever since.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So many of us. So many lives changed.
For me, it was my brother got hospitalized last year in October, and we all got like matching PJs to kind of bring up his mood. We wanted him to be happy, and we went and we took pictures. And I don't know, in that picture, it was the biggest I've ever looked, and visually, like I seeing myself, I didn't even look healthy at all either. Not just the size, but just I looked so unhealthy. And I don't know, that was like the final straw where I was like, absolutely not. And then I started that next week, right after that, the journey.
I just wish I would have known about it so much sooner.
Yeah.
Like I had never, I mean, it was out. I found out about it in April of 23. That's when I found out about it. And I mean, but I'm not going to, I found out when I was supposed to. That's just, I'm going to let it go. And
I'm not going to let it go. I should have been on Bayetta.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. 100%. 100%.
Sarah come out. I know Zepbound was just 23. The one was
Mhm. I think I know it was 22, but I don't know if it was like May or
May Mounjaro was May of 22.
yeah, May of 22.
Yeah, like I said, I was one of the original Manjaro coupon holders in October of
Mhm.
2022.
Okay. Why didn't you tell me, Heather?
I'm not kidding. It kind of breaks my heart because when I found out about it, the rumors had just really started about them potentially changing the coupon. And I'm not kidding you. I sent links for the coupon to probably like 12 of my like closest like friends and family members just in case they wanted to, because it lasted a whole year, just in case. My brother thought it was silly and didn't want to do anything because there was so much like controversy around taking a medicine and it was injectable and everything else. But he's all this time later, unfortunately, at 33 years old, being diagnosed diabetes. So it's one of those, like, it hurts my feelings at such a young age. I wish I had the information, not just that we had it, but I wish I'd had an understanding of the impact that it made then, to be able to have the courage to have said something to get him to a place where he wasn't having to go through this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But is he going to take a GLP-1 now?
Well, as we all know, insurance is something really special. So we're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're asking for miracles to be made in step therapy to be able to get approved. So
yeah.
We're getting there.
Well, I hope he gets the medication he needs.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Everybody go for that one? Okay, so this is from Corey. And this is going to be a maintenance question for those of you who are at or approaching maintenance. So I will set this one out.
I'm out after the last weekend.
Okay.
I'm back in the journey.
The Bucky's sent you over?
Yep.
Yikes.
Okay, so what have you learned about your identity and self-worth during maintenance, and now that weight loss is no longer the central goal?
Want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. I realized that I didn't have to wait, proud of myself, or do all the amazing things that I'm doing now, like when I went horseback riding on the beach with my husband, or did the zip line over the trees, and or wearing a bathing suit to this one pool that I've gone to for almost 20 years, and I've never put on a bathing suit there before. And I fully regret. But I did because I felt held back by my own weight. And maintenance has shown me that I was always capable. I just did not give myself permission to fully show up before. And now I am. And I regret that I didn't. And so I would say to anyone who's not at maintenance yet to start just doing it now, because I wish I didn't have to. I wish I didn't make myself get to this level of acceptance of myself physically before I allowed myself to enjoy life fully in those particular ways and feel accepted to my own self, when nobody else cared except me. And I just stopped myself from doing all sorts of things. And so now I'm living, but I hope to encourage people to just live now.
I love that. Because I find myself often, when I get to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I've got to release that. I've got to release and just do it now.
Please do.
Yeah.
Like I would have felt so much more proud of myself now had I been doing it throughout the journey,
Mm-hmm.
But I held back still.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maintenance. I've been in maintenance for over a year now, and I honestly don't even know how to answer this question, Corey. It's such a good question. I talked to quite a few people in Atlanta about this last week. I thought the hard part would be losing because I had struggled for such a long time to lose. It had been my focus in so many things. I had avoided things. I had hidden behind people in photos. I had I'd done all of the things. I bought clothes that were too big. I had a million excuses. I kept trying and failing. Never once in this journey of getting to goal did I ever think that I would be at goal, or stay at goal. They never crossed my mind. And so probably about 3 months into being officially in maintenance, I still, like, all the way to now, find myself like trying to replace that feeling of doing something, of like constantly trying to figure out what to do next or how to celebrate things. So I think that I've drilled down into helping others as my filler in losing, and like celebrating them over myself now, which has been really helpful. But I think maintenance is something that we really do in the community need to start talking about more, because our brains are programmed to be excited about losing. We are not programmed to be excited about getting there and staying there, and we don't know what to do now. At least I don't know what to do now.
That was a
Corey.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, the biggest thing for me is just I'm at a place of trying to figure that all out. So definitely looking more for that in the future, but also, again, just kind of cautiously giving people the idea to start thinking about it now, whether, again, you're just starting or you're almost to goal, whatever that looks like. There's something past that, right? There's something beyond that you actually, for the first time, have to live with longer than living with the like constant work towards something. So start thinking about that now. It's a totally different animal, and it's almost like weird with your brain. I talk about it a lot, and it's like a weird thing with your brain after being so, like, living in that place for so long.
I think a lot of this journey for so many people, like, they get that dopamine hit from like the scale going down, the scale going down, the scale, right? Like, I got to lost this big, I've lost this, right? So then if it's if that's no longer a thing or no longer a part of this part of your journey, your brain's still going to be seeking that dopamine hit from the journey. So I like that you replaced that with filled that space with helping others
And shopping.
Yeah.
Girl, you ain't lying.
It's funny because a lot of people talk about like they don't feel compelled to shop while they're on this medicine. I've heard that as a lot of people talk about that as a side effect, and that like pleasure center of your brain. Let me tell y'all, I can't go to a farmer's market at all now without even just seeing if they have my size, or like just grabbing something online that I would have never done before. So also watch out for shopping.
Very true.
Well, I really appreciate that insight from you too on maintenance, because yeah, I mean, like Sabrina said, there's dopamine hits. I mean, I've had these little goals. I'm a very goal oriented person, had all these little goals, hit that, that, and you reach those, and then you're sharing that there's going to come a time where you don't have those. The goal, you've met your goals, and the goal is to maintain. And I love that you've turned that to serving and helping others.
It's powerful.
I don't know. I might recommend everybody spend about, 12 months on your journey not going down on the scale. It's good practice for maintenance.
Oh, bless your heart.
No, I'm just saying, like, not having that dopamine hit, it kind of like you have to reprogram your brain. Like, you kind of have to force it to like look for joy in other places and look for other positives on your journey. Like, you have to look for other things. Like, you literally have to do it, or you get discouraged.
Absolutely.
And for people in maintenance, God bless you, especially if you've been in maintenance for multiple years, like having to constantly look for something. Like, God bless you.
I think I've even mentioned to Jackson before, there are times when and again, not that I would, again, the health benefits, obviously it's not healthy, but there are times when like, I wish I had more to lose. Like I wish I still had somewhere to go, even though I don't. Which again, is also one of those things that in therapy, I've talked about, like training my brain that good enough is this is good. This is what we set it as. We are healthy. We're happy. We're at the place that we need to be. Like what does it look like next? So it's a lot of, again, like rewarding yourself with, clothing or doing something outside the box, pushing yourself to be on a panel that you've been avoiding for months and months, that you would never, going on a trip that you wouldn't go on by yourself. It's definitely a different place, because going on a trip to Atlanta, my best friend's not going to be like, congratulations, you did it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you lose 3 or 5 or get to a goal or a micro goal, it's socially acceptable for them to be like, hey, I'm so proud of you for doing this or this. And so it's a weird like replacement. We definitely need to talk, Corey. Sabrina said so.
It took me getting to meeting Heather in person to pull the whole Sabrina, like, it's time, Heather, it's time for you to share your voice on the panel. Because like before, she's, oh yeah. I was like, Heather, it's time. It's time.
It's scary. It's a little scary putting yourself out there.
It is. But you're helping. It's just like framing it with, you're helping people. Yeah. Your voice, your story, you're helping people. So.
And showing others that it's attainable,
Right. I say this all the time. Yeah, I say it all the time. For the people that are in maintenance, and I get it. Some people leave the community and they're like, I'm done with this. I don't like, and they walk away. I get it. I mean, that's your business. But if you can find it within your heart to stay, we so desperately need you. Like, you are the light at the end of the tunnel for so many of us. Like, you are proof that this is possible. It is possible to get there. And so for those of you who have stayed and are continue to move in this space, I thank you. So
Can I answer?
Yeah.
As someone formerly in maintenance,
oh my gosh.
Honestly,
1 weekend in Atlanta and he's done.
Well, honestly, I was done as soon as I saw Hacksmith. When I saw his muscles, I was like, I'm not in maintenance anymore. I need to gain some muscle. So like now I'm like, I really need to go hard, because like, dude is a machine. Like he looked really amazing, and I'm like, damn, I need to get to it. So I am gonna get in the gym. That's my goal. I'm gonna try to make more time for myself. I know the time is there. I just have to be diligent. So
Dr. Brian has a name for that, though.
Yes. Dr. Brian, yeah. What was it?
It's 2 words.
Yeah. Give me a second.
Not the recomposition, but you're talking about the
the phase that's not maintenance.
I don't want a fancy word because it's too much for me to remember.
Revitalization phase, or
he just told us yesterday. And he went into like his reasoning of why he chose these terms, and it makes sense. It makes sense. So
yeah.
Yeah. No, I just want muscles now.
Yeah, and there are next phases with maintenance, because so I did some research on this after Brian's thing. I was looking it up. And maintenance medically is in all realms, whether it's any sort of disease, there's a maintenance phase. So just because GLP-1 has a maintenance phase, it doesn't mean anything other than it's controlling the disease, and it's managing it. And so you're staying at that one level as far as that one aspect. The rest of it is separate from it. So like somebody could just stay in GLP-1 maintenance and never lift a barbell, they could never take, supplements and vitamins and do all sorts of things. They could just do that. But these are different aspects to your life as a whole, that maintenance is still okay to just be a GLP-1 maintenance, whereas the other are just improvements of your overall body. And so that's where the reconstitution comes in, all the other aspects, like once people are talking about like getting your other hormones, not just this hormone, your other hormones, getting them all in check, and vitamin therapy, and then working out, and then mental, like there's all sorts of aspects to it, becoming a full, well-rounded, healthy person. But literally just medication with that.
Day?
I'm not at goal yet. I'm like 14 away.
Girl, you're close. You're close.
It definitely does slow down, and I'm wondering how I'm gonna feel like after, like when I don't have to lose anything else. Well, how I'm gonna, like, what am I gonna look forward to next? I think that's gonna be the hard part, because you always look forward to like, oh, I lost half a pound this week, half a pound closer. I'm thinking maybe at that point I'm gonna like go all in into starting to build muscle, or more like dedicate more time to working out, I think, because right now it's been hard finding that time. For sure. But I think that's my next goal, like even getting a gym membership, which I've always really like dreaded going to a gym in itself because that anxiety.
Well, there are so many different options, Dave. I say this all the time. Not everyone in this community is going to go to the gym. There are several options that you can do at home and maintain, if not build, muscle. So, we can chat offline if you want those, if you do not want to go into a gym.
Please.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
My favorite is the guy that shows you how to like get back at your ex-boyfriends with moves from the gym. Have y'all seen that guy?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's funny. He's like all of his like reps and like different sets are like, you see your ex-boyfriend at Target, and this is how you like run away or duck so he doesn't see you, and he's like doing like lunges, like backwards lunges and stuff. He's really funny. I'll have to send it to you guys.
I love that. Yeah, shoot that over.
That's great.
That's funny. Corey had said something to me in the past regarding maintenance that just kind of like really stuck with me. Like, that's the longest part of your journey. This is literally for the rest of your life.
Forever.
So I can't even fathom not trying to lose weight. That doesn't make sense in my brain. There's no version of reality where that was never ever a thing. Like, that was never a thing. So I can't even imagine that.
Like,
yeah,
when
even being in it for a year, I still am confused by that idea, because I never thought I would be successful, because I tried and failed so many times that my brain just it still hasn't, like, the light bulb hasn't gone off yet in my brain yet, which is hard for, I think, a lot of people to understand, but even harder living in my own head of, again, like, knowing that I potentially have years of being in a body that I'm happy in and being in a mindset that I'm happy in. It's definitely something that no one prepared me for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you think about, probably most of us have spent a majority of our lives, that's been in our head. Got to lose weight, got to lose weight, got to lose weight. I need to lose weight. I need to lose weight. What can I do to lose weight? And now you get into maintenance and wait, you mean I don't need to think about this? I don't need to think about losing weight? I mean, I'm here. I've arrived.
Like when we got back from Atlanta, this morning was the first time I weighed myself, because I was like, I should just, maybe I should know at this point. I don't know. it didn't enter every morning. It never even entered my head to weigh myself. And I was like, I don't care. I'm sure it's fine. It's probably within a couple pounds and it doesn't make any difference. To not have that thought at all, because I'm trying to not have that thought. I don't even have the thought. It's just like, it'll be fine. It's all good now. And so I just think about other things. I mean, it is so freeing. But it did take me a long time to get to that point. You know, even starting maybe back in January, it took me like 4 months to be able to not think that way and to be on the scale. It was a little so once that ended, it took a few months for me that to kind of get out of my head. But yeah, it is so freeing to not even think about things anymore. And there's almost like it's not guilt. It's just like when you feel like you're in kind of beyond some things, but you're still trying to be present in the journey for other people, you know, you're like, I don't want this to sound like I'm bragging at all. Cause I'm not, cause it's not me. It's just my brain, my body's working how it's supposed to. My brain is working how it's supposed to. It's so simple at this point. And it's so liberating about what I weigh anymore.
I mean, Jay, could you imagine a day of waking up and not being a core part of, I mean, because I don't know about you, but for me, there was not one day, not 1 minute of any day that went by that I wasn't thinking about it before this journey.
Yeah, before this journey, I was. Yeah.
I'll retire a scale at some point, but not anytime soon.
Yeah, no, but like this, the thought of like not like, oh, I don't want to lose anymore. You know, like that's like, could you even imagine that?
Yeah, that's the goal, though. Is it not the goal, though? Like
It
I
is.
can imagine it. I'm mentally preparing for that day. Like
Yeah.
like I'm mentally prepping myself for the day I reach goal to like be in that headspace. Like
Yeah.
plus or minus 7 days. Like that first week, like you check every day just to be sure, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
first week, like just make sure it sticks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After
That's
about
like
3 months, I just got bored.
Yeah.
Honestly, it just got boring seeing it stay within that like 5 to 10. And I personally will check every once in a while, but it's like more so if I notice my clothes are fitting kind of weird, or, you know, I might be having a rough day. But ultimately I got super bored at one point. I was like, well, you're still here. So it's like, again, it's like a weird thing to even think about because I was the same way. And when I started, I was an everyday. I wanted to see every tiny little ounce every single day. And now it's boring.
because you're staying within your range.
Right.
The
Which
only
that
again,
also
is
means
almost like a little bit disappointing because again, it's just like, well,
But that also means you learn
nothing
the
else.
habits and the medication is working as well.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so you did it well. It's like
Yeah.
job well done. This is your reward.
it definitely is.
I look forward to having that mental space and that time to think about something else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The only time I think about the scale, like where I even feel any concern, is when I'm like, I don't want to be that low. And there's like a 2 pound range where I get to, because I'm very little. Whoever has met me in person, you know, I'm 5'1". I'm tiny.
Literally next to Jackson.
I don't weigh that much, but I look appropriate. Do I not? I look appropriate.
I'm a whole foot
sure.
taller than you.
So for me, losing 2-3 pounds, that's too much. So I've had to learn, okay, I really can't take the injection every 7 days now, you know, because I know that even if I don't then I check it and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's one moment, one time where I was like, and I felt like this surge of fear. I'm like, that's too low. And so then ate more, stretched it out, and now I'm I'm 2 pounds heavier than that. But 2 pounds on me is a big deal. So it's weird in your head to think that way. Never have I ever thought that way. Never have I thought that way. So
Now that is someone I can't fathom, like ever thinking that I'll ever be underweight that's the problem that I'm certain I will never have. I'm confident in that part.
I promise you, I'm never gonna say I'm so skinny. Like it's never gonna be me.
I said that I put this
50-year-old and I have to worry about my bones and
Yeah.
so it's totally different. Like if I were your age,
Yeah.
like
I dropped that I'm so skinny on my husband, and he is not amused. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, forget it.
Yeah, I did that in the Uber because we had to climb into the back of this Uber, and somebody was like, out of the whole group, they're like, well, you get in the way back. And again, even after all this time, I was like, I'm not going to fit back there with everybody. And then I was like, wait, I could. I might.
Yeah,
It's such a weird place. I can't wait to celebrate everybody's.
I know. I know. That's one of the harder reasons of why it's hard for me to talk about maintenance a lot is everybody else. I know that it's important. I do, but that is one of the reasons that it's harder for me to talk about it. I'm like, I just want you to be where I'm at and feel what I feel and not feel like it's your fault, that you're not.
But Sabrina's point, though, being able to see people in the community that have gotten there and are at that place, I think is also, I wouldn't have thought I would have thought the same way as you, Corey, like talking about it. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings or make them, think that this was something that I don't still struggle with. It is all the time. And I want to talk about it because it's a totally new landscape for me. It's like starting all the way over, just in a different place. But I love Sabrina saying that the community does need that because we are still learning, and we are all still going to get there eventually, and being able to kind of, maybe hopefully create some guidelines and some mindfulness about that as you get closer to goal and things like that, or having people to look towards is, I think, just as important for sure. Because I wish I had more people that could help me through some of the problems that I'm dealing with right now of that mindset being so different and having to navigate that in a smaller group versus the people that are, again, celebrating all the time with all of the progress.
So on that note, I've been lobbying Corey and Brian, and I've been talking to a couple of people about this conversation is a very important conversation within our community. And I know that I wrap my arms around people who are just entering this space, but the people who have been here and like we were just saying, this class of medication came out May of 22, and there's a lot of people who are now where you guys are. And this is the very first time that they've never, ever been on a diet, ever in their life. So I just, we're going to throw something together.
Well, and those of us who are still at it, to see that you guys have done this. And I mean, again, many of us have had weight loss and yay, we met our goal. And then to just go back to the way we were, but to see you not only in maintenance, like you've met your goal, but that you're still there a year later, 6 months later, whatever, is important for those of us who are still working towards the goals, that you can get there and you can stay there.
Yeah.
I want to look at maintenance from one different perspective. You guys are great. You made it your inspiration, but not the inspiration perspective, because that's puts a little bit of pressure on you. I want to look at it more of I want you guys to continue to F up kind of perspective, because I believe that there's value in watching other people's mistakes and learning from those mistakes. And so I don't expect you to be perfect. And I prefer you not to be perfect so we can all learn that way. Like the inspiration part's great or whatever, but I prefer you not to be inspirations. I prefer you to be messy and human. And so we can continue to learn. And
Well,
I love it that way.
ago, I posted about how I was going to get blood drawn, and they said that they could remember this. They said that they could tell that I was dehydrated, so I would drink all the time. What wasn't drinking any water. I was just like totally dehydrated. They could tell because of how my blood was coming out and whatever. And so I've had to really get on myself that more, because when I was in the loss phase, I was on top of everything. And started getting lazier in the maintenance phase because I realized it's really not mattering what I do. I'm just going to stay here. But that's not the healthiest way to be. So I upped. I've been working on my nutrition better instead of just having protein shakes in the morning, which is all I did for the entire loss. Now I have like these little egg sandwich things or whatever, and working on things like that. So it's definitely not been perfect for me at all. I feel like I've had to learn how to eat, because before this, I ate diet foods for decades. That's it. Diet foods, like such garbage. And we really didn't have like bad snacks. And, like I didn't have chips. I didn't have cookies in the house or anything like that. But I just had a ton of diet food. And having to learn to make real food has been a challenge for me. And so I'm still working on that, because there's a lot of things that are very foreign to me to eat and weird. And so I'm having to work on textures and little things like that. And then I'm like, to make all this for one person who's not going to eat more than like 4 bites, like that seems crazy. So think of like, what can I make as somebody who's in for myself, or dinner for my is going to feed, like there's so many weird little aspects to it. So it's definitely not like just smooth sailing. It's a lot of figuring out. So I'll do some content about stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Or have you tried pickled quail eggs?
Okay. We're not doing that.
I saw that live.
We're not going there. Jackson, how is maintenance for you? Like how your day to day?
I don't even now. I have a Tamagotchi that helps me track, so like now I actually have like some structure, but like literally like this week like I haven't had structure. I've just been like going with the flow. I really prioritize protein and fiber. That's like my thing, but I definitely do not drink enough water, Corey, so I completely agree with that. I was so on top of it, my water, my entire journey, and I have been slacking. So like today I literally left and I went to Publix and I got some more water because I had drank my water and I didn't bring enough water. So I was like, I need to go get more water today. So I hit my water today, but like I have been slacking on the water. So don't slack on the water. What I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. Yeah, so now I'm doing a little bit better tracking, but I need to work on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like we get to maintenance, and the the things that we have learned along the way that we've been doing that really were really working for us, and we did it all, we start getting slightly lazy with it. So we have to find a way to come back round to what is still fully healthy for us regardless. And so
meeting those goals got you something.
I do think that
meeting that goal, you're like, it goes back to that. That's where I struggle, is like, okay, I can meet my water goal, but then what? Like, it doesn't do any, like, it's not like there's no reward for it. So it's hard.
Blood bubbly coming out. I can tell you that if you get any.
I think that we're our own worst enemy. We're really hard on ourselves sometimes. And it's like definitely okay to say like you're not going to have a perfect day every day. Like I'm not going to hit my water every day. I'm not going to hit my protein every day. I'm not going to hit my fiber every day. But like I'm going to come back tomorrow and I'm going to try to do better. And I think that that's like really powerful. Like don't give up from one bad day of not or from one lackluster day of not hitting your goals.
Right.
Or
We're all,
one weekend in Atlanta.
yeah.
One crazy weekend in Atlanta. Yeah.
Well, because like beforehand, before the medication, one moment of one day, if I had, that would have ruined it for me for months. There was no tomorrow could be different.
Yeah.
It would have ruined it for months for me until I found then something else to try to fix it with. But it would have always ruined it. I had to be like stringent, perfect for me not to go off the rails. And now I can go off the rails a little bit and I can just be like, that's not the best choice, Corey. And then I just immediately mind shift and go back to what is healthy. But I'm able to only because of the medication. But yeah, I've gotten a little too liberal with my choices sometimes. I'd say in the last month or two with food, to where I'm like, I've had more I've never had candy before, really. And so I've had some candy, I've had some cookies, and I'm like, what am I doing? I've never even done this before, unless I was like on a binge, you know? And so for me to even start that again has been a little weird for me. And but I was able to because of the medication.
Yeah.
That I did before.
Okay, question for the panel. Does everyone have like a protein bar or graveyard? I have
What?
a protein bar graveyard. It's where you buy boxes of protein bars and then you eat one bar out of the box and then you don't eat anything else.
I've got 2 sets of those in my pantry.
Yeah.
No, Lou will take any kind of protein there is. It doesn't matter what it tastes like. If it's got protein, he'll eat the bar.
I haven't purchased a protein bar since June of 2023.
Oh my God. Wow. Not the date specific. What happened? What tarnished you with protein bars?
They're gross.
They are. Okay, can I tell you the one that Bear Bells is good. The one that is like tolerable that I can do is the Kirkland brand, the Costco, but it's only 10 grams of protein, so it's like, but
That's
If
not.
y'all aren't
That's a
eating the
candy bar.
marshmallow ones, y'all are.
the Built
Those
Puff,
marshmallow ones are wild. The
they're
Built
okay.
Puff one.
My daughter loves that. Those bug me.
Yeah.
I don't want a
I
candy
think-
bar though. That's the thing.
Right.
I don't
Right.
want a candy bar.
That's true. It's got to be worth it for me.
I made a video about this that like they're engineering foods, like they're scientifically engineering foods to have like crap in them to get us hooked on them.
Yeah.
Like and previously like other food, but like every single time I go to Costco there's new protein items and I'm always like, what is going on here? Like let me read these ingredients. I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
It freaks me out.
A little bit, because they could have been doing this all along, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If they're losing massive amounts of money, they're like, all right, fine, we'll throw a little bit of protein in there. And I'm like, I don't trust you.
Yep, they know there's money to be had now.
Right.
The biggest shill is the sweet treats. It's the chocolates, the candy supplements, the soda supplements. Like that's the thing.
What's the soda supplement?
I didn't realize how late it was, but I just want to do like a really quick question, like kind of rapid fire, and then we'll do closing thoughts. Yeah. Is that okay, guys?
No.
Okay, so I've done this one before, but I'd like to hear your answers. Finish this sentence for me. I am stronger because.
With
We're
my
gonna start with
community.
you, Heather.
Yeah, my community that we built.
Corey?
Yeah. I'm stronger because I finally know that it was never my fault. And I believe in
I love it. Kimberly?
I'm stronger because I took the step. I stepped out of denial and took the step.
I love that. Day?
I'm stronger because I love myself again.
Oh,
I love that. I love that. That's powerful. Jackson?
I think that I'm stronger because of what I've been through. So I think that what I've been through, I've had growth, and that's what makes me stronger. So
Jay?
I'm stronger because I make my own rules on this journey.
I love that because that is powerful.
yeah.
I mean, because what's the one thing everyone does? They compare their journey, right? They compare their success or their loss or whatever the case is. And to have that mindset or even capacity to, I'm going to run my own race. I
Taking
love
back that control. I love that too.
I love that. I am stronger because I am starting to trust myself again. And that for me that's a big deal.
good.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So. Okay, closing thoughts. We've got a couple minutes left. Heather?
I always like to. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Closing thoughts, just your message to the GLP-1 community and remind people where they can find you.
Perfect. So my reminder, and this is something that I try to close every situation, every day with, is just give yourself grace and be grateful for the little things, because in time, that's what really builds up, and that's what matters in the end. Just being proud of yourself for every tiny little win, and just knowing that it's all going to matter later. You can find me on TikTok at Heather+3.
Corey?
Can you repeat the question? I blanked out for 1 second.
Yeah. Closing thoughts for what you'd like to tell the GLP-1 community and where people can find you.
Okay. I'm on TikTok, Corey.take2, Instagram. Like, I put a couple things over there. I found out that, like, in life, friends and family were finding me on there. I was like, no, you're not getting everything.
Yeah. delete.
Closing thoughts. Just really, the community is here for you. I mean, like, it is so expansive. You will find somebody who you connect with, and they want to be there for you. And if you don't find that in your own personal life, if you want to just do this journey quietly, which so many of us do initially, and plenty of people do the entire way, you can be as quiet as you want. You'll find a whole family of people who will be here for you, walking side by side. And it can be really life-changing to do it with the community rather than completely by yourself. You'll feel much more educated, and you'll be able to in turn eventually help your family and friends as well.
I love that. Kimberly?
I've learned so much through this community, through everybody's stories, through their struggles, through successes. So this community continues to motivate me, encourage me, and educate. It has educated me. I'm still early on this journey. I'm just really excited what Mounjaro has helped my body do. I think that there is so much more research to be done. I mean, we all know that there's new procedures coming out, new medicines coming out. There's so much in the pipelines that it's really exciting to know that people who are dealing with PCOS, addiction, sleep apnea, diabetes, obesity, and I think there are things that haven't even been discovered yet. And that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting. I think there's stuff that people haven't even talked about, or so I'm in it, and I'm just so thankful for this community. What did Heather call it, or was it Corey? I'm not a creeper. What am I?
A silent partner, a silent GLP-1 partner.
But for all those other silent partners out there who log in, they watch, they follow, they like, they might make comments. I mean, we see you. I see you. I am you. Not everybody's out there creating content, or they want to be more private about it. So I'd be more than welcome to talk, chat, DM, whatever, for anybody who wants to share and just doesn't have anybody to share it with.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Day?
Okay, 2 things. Hunger is not the enemy. The food cravings and the food noise are. I say this all the time. People are always getting ready to, like, hunger's okay. It's not the enemy anymore. And you're not alone, ever. I always say, if you're ever feeling discouraged, you can message me. I am happy to hype anyone up. Any loss is a loss, whether it's lbs, pounds, inches, or otherwise. It's a win. Or even just having energy, or walking to the front door without being out of breath, because I used to be out of breath getting a few steps to the door. So, and you can message me anytime. You can find me on allthings.day at Instagram and TikTok.
Thank you. Jackson?
I'll be really quick. If you've considered going to a meetup and you haven't made the leap, I think you should. I think this past weekend really showed a community coming together. There was a lot of healing done. There was a lot of great conversations and great connections had. I think that you should go to a meetup if you haven't. I would take the leap. Go find your tribe, find your people. Find someone that you connect with. Like, not everyone hung out with everyone at all times. Like, there's people are going to hang out and they're going to go different ways, but you'll find your people to hang out with and be around, and you should definitely go to a meetup, period. The end.
Where can people find you?
Right there. Right there. Jack LeMay, 03.
On what platforms?
TikTok.
Okay. Thank you, Jackson. And I agree. If you haven't had the chance, please go to, and it doesn't even have to be the big annual meetup. Check around. I mean, there's tons of mini meetups in cities. There's dinners, very small, intimate meetups. Find your people, guys. Find your people. I agree. Jay?
So I want everyone to start stacking those wins. And here's just a very simple one. This coming week, for the next 7 days, all of y'all hit your water goals every single day. All of y'all.
Don't tell me what to do.
Every single day, hit your water goals.
Who said that?
Who said that?
Yeah, who said that? Jay, you don't have to be so damn loud. No, we got you. I heard you. I heard you. We all heard you.
Yeah. Hit your water goals. Start stacking these wins. Whether you're in maintenance or whether you're still on the losing part of the journey, just start stacking those wins because you deserve them. But yeah, that's what you need to do. That's it. And you can find me on TikTok and YouTube as Virgo JV.
Thank you. My closing thoughts for the evening are just kind of going back to what we talked about. This community is not about GLP-1 medication. It is about how we root for each other, how we show up for each other. I mean, very real connections were made that had nothing, like we went to that meetup. I think I talked to 2 people for 5 minutes about the actual medication.
Yeah.
You know, this community is not about the actual medication. So I encourage you just to find your people, right? And just continue to show up. You're worth it, you know. And I always say this, trust the meds, trust the process, and trust yourself. I absolutely love. Oh, Brina 7_727, primarily on TikTok. But I thank you for sharing your voices. I want to thank every single person who hung out with us in the chat. If you are watching this live or if you're watching this recorded, I thank you for being with us. And I hope something that someone has said up here has resonated with you and you feel seen. This is why we do what we do, is to help people within this community. We love you guys and we appreciate every single one of you. Dave, thank you so much for inviting Weighing What Matters to your platform. You are incredible, and thank you for allowing us to share our voice over here. I love you guys. Everyone, we will see you soon.
Picture, Sabrina?
Yep, stay on screen, guys. Stay on screen afterwards, okay? Love you guys. Bye, everyone.
Bye.